All right then. So since we know how to create the HTML stuffs and everything, now let's see how to style these things. So as we know, there are different, for instance, let's say there are different ways to style your HTML. So we have three different ways to style your HTML. So in that, the first one is to write the styles by using embedded, embedded styles, embedded styles, and internal styles and the external styles. These are the three different ways to write your styles: embedded, internal, and external. All right. So in that situations, the embedded styles, let's understand the embedded styles first. So the embedded styles is just by using the style attribute. Every tag have different sets of attributes like name, ID, class, and style. These are the attributes which helps you to enhance the tags, right? So that's the embedded. And internal, we are going to use the style tag. We're going to use the style tag. So as I said, in the head we can write some styles and everything. By using the style tag, we can customize that HTML page. So I will show you how to do that and all those things. And the external styles are being loaded by using the CSS file, external CSS file, right? So let's see all these three different ways how they are being useful in the customizing the styles of your HTML file. Right, in that situations we are going to use the embedded style first. As I said, every tag has its own style. Let's say if I use the style attribute and I want to change the style of this particular heading. So let's say I want to change the color to red color. So color, then I want to make the font size to look bigger. So font size, it's going to be font size is going to be like 50 pixels or something. Save the changes and you can see it's changed the color and the size of it. But the you have to keep it in mind, if you're using in external or internal, it doesn't matter, right? But when you're using an embedded styles, it always the first priority. So it will always takes the embedded styles as the first priority. It doesn't matter even if you return any external styles and all those things, it will always takes the embedded styles as a first priority. First it will execute the embedded styles, then only it will start executing the external styles. It will always overwrite the external styles, right? For instance, let's say in external, if I return h1 text color should be blue, but as an and in the inside the embedded I mentioned the color as red, but it will always take the red color. The blue color will be always gets overrated because embedded is the first priority. Okay. All right. So this is the embedded styles. Now let's move on to the internal. So inside the head tag, I'm going to create the style tag. Inside the style tag, I'm going to target all the #2 tags. So when it comes to internal or external, so how we are targeting a very specific element, that's the most important thing. So to target the specific elements, to target the elements inside internal or external styles, we can write the styles by for HTML tags. We can target directly HTML tag, or we can target the class attribute in the HTML tag, or we can target the ID attribute inside the HTML tag. So if you are targeting the HTML tag, you have to type the HTML tag name. That's all it's needed, HTML tag name, and you can start open these curly brackets and start writing your CSS properties in it. And if you are targeting the class properties, for instance, you have to use this dot operator. You have to use the dot operator with the custom class name, Then if you are using the ID attribute, you have to use this hash operator with the custom class name. That's the thing you have to use it when you're using targeting the ID of your class attribute. For instance, let's say over here, and for you can see, let me show you. So for this h2 tag, I written the style text color as blue, and let me copy and paste, And let me delete this style now. Now you can see we have two headings, one with one specific internal styles and another one it doesn't have any style. So inside the style tag, I'm gonna type h2 color should always be maroon or something like that. Now if I save these changes, you can see we have two different h2 tags, but only one tag is taking the maroon color, another one is taking the blue color. So it means that it doesn't matter if you targeted that specific element inside the external or internal, it will always takes the embedded styles as the first priority, then it will move on to your external styles. So that's the reason the first h2 tag doesn't take the maroon color, it takes the blue instead, and the second heading tag it's taking the maroon color, right? So if I copy and paste it one more time, it's affecting. So the problem with your writing with your HTML tag, you need to be very cautious, because if you're keeping 6 to 7 same tags inside the same website, it will affect this every single tag. So that's the reason we have to be very specific. So that's why we use the class and ID attribute. For instance, let's say I have to say dot my h2. I'm creating one more tag for targeting the class attribute. And for this, I'm going to say color. It's going to be green. So every h2 tag should have a maroon color, but only this h2 tag should be in a green color. So I have to supply my class name over here, my h2. So now you can see that specific h2 tag looks in a green color, right? So let's say if I have one more h2 tag and I'm going to target the ID property, hash my h2 with ID. This is the CSS which I'm creating, and for this I'm going to say color, which is going to be red. Say the changes, and now I'm going to use that in this ID property. ID, I'm going to copy and supply this ID name over here, and now you can see it is in the red color. So this is how you have to target your HTML elements, and directly by using the class attributes or ID attributes, or even by using your HTML name itself, right? So think about it. If you're building an entire website and you're styling it in a single HTML file, so that is going to be make it more complex for you for the building purposes and for the browser engine to understand the code in an easier way. So that's the reason we have created the separate files and everything, right? So I'm going to copy this stuff completely, cut it, and I'm going to delete this, say these changes. Now it's not taking any external styles or internal style, because we don't have what it, browser engine doesn't understand what is this my h2 and my h2 with ID and all those things. It can understand the inbuilt style attribute. That's the reason it's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file inside the styles CSS, style.css, and I'm going to name that file as style.css, styles.css. So now I'm going to paste all those codes which I previously written and save it. Still, we don't have any changes because this is a separate file. Your index.html doesn't know what is this file is, and your browser engine doesn't know when to load this file. So I have to link this file inside this index.html. To do that, all I have to do is to use the link tag, link, link tag. So basically what we are going to link, we are going to link an external file. So you type link, and you can see we have the link CSS and we have import and all those things, right? In that cases, if you use link CSS, so that is going to give you an attribute called relation, and it's going to give you the href. So relation is nothing but what is the relation of the link which you are trying to link in this file. Style sheet, we are trying to link a style sheet. Then in which location it's being loaded, hyper reference of that specific file or hyperlink. So inside this href, I'm going to say dot slash from the current location, which means of this current location of this file, move inside to the assets folder and move inside the CSS folder, and you can see the styles.css. So from the current location, get inside the assets, get inside the CSS and access the styles.css. Once I hit the save button, you can see all the styles are back. So now I can keep all my styles in a separate folder, and I can keep the wireframe over here.
So this is how you need to maintain your styles and CSS and everything. All right. So on the next session, we're going to understand the very much basics about the entire website stuffs and everything. All right. So without wasting your time, let's move on to the next section.